You should definitely check out all the other stuff, Brett, because there's a bunch of country here. Um, it's way too hot down here, in my opinion. Like, especially if you're wanting something more temperate. Look north. Like, Chihuahua's a really good state. Um, also, oh, I need to go look it up because I can't remember the name of the state really quick. Hang on, give me a second. Because there's some. That's where Chris and I are looking to buy long term. We're trying to find a mountain property up north. We could find a mountain property here because there's a place called San Cristobal de las Casas, which is like a tropical highlands. Um, and it's really cool, but she would like a place that gets snow. Um, and I'm okay with that as long as it's snow part of the year, because that's one of the things I got sick of living up in the high mountains and Steamboat was, you're snowed in for 9 months out of the year. Um, and I don't want to do that. But 2-3 months out of the year, snow isn't a bad thing. It's like Durango. Durango's a really good state to look at, and the costs are the same. Like you start looking in the countryside, you'll find plenty of um, stuff. I never recommend southeast where we are because it's just too damn hot in the summertime. Um, like it's not bad right now, but like April, May, June, when it's 115 degrees out and your electricity goes out because you're out in the middle of nowhere and the grid sucks and it's even though it might only be 12 hours that the power's out, you have never experienced misery until you have sat through a power outage when it's 115 degrees outside and there's no wind and you can't turn on a fan and it's just because there's no power. It sucks like you would not believe. That is one thing we actually have joked about it. Like we're getting to the point where it's like we should just get a generator or put solar up because um, there are happy mediums. Dribom says if I ever moved over there, I would go to Canada for sure. I melt if the temp is over 68. Dude, I'm the same way you are. So Chris and I joke about this. So I just live in the office essentially because it's air conditioned in here, and we have breakfast outside, and I'll go for a walk, go for a run, go to the supermarket and stuff like that. But otherwise, I just stay in here where it's a nice, cool. You know, it depends on the day. 70, 75 degrees Fahrenheit. It does not stay that cool in the summertime because houses here are not insulated, and so fighting against the sun during the hot months, it'll get up to like 90 degrees in here, um, in the office. But yeah, definitely look at other places, Brett. Don't just do it just because you've heard cool things about where I live. It's a big country, and you can find similarly priced stuff all over the place. Um, I personally really like Durango and parts of Chihuahua because it has sort of that arid mountain space. But there's also Oaxaca. Oaxaca is, especially if you like good food, Oaxaca is one of the really cool places to go for gastronomy. Like the city of Oaxaca in Oaxaca. Um, it's obviously more of a populated place, but you could go anywhere in Oaxaca and find really cool stuff. Also, the entire region around Puerto Vallarta. Puerto Vallarta is obviously very touristy, but you drive 45 minutes in any direction from Puerto Vallarta, and you're getting that same mountainous landscape and temperature without all of the tourism. And there's plenty of stuff in that area as well. I really like the Puerto Vallarta region, Puerto Vallarta, Nayarit. Um, and then you've got the beach. The beach is 45 minutes away, but you've also got the mountains, so it's like you can combine the two. Um, you know, there's a lot of really cool places. Yeah, definitely take your time, do your research. I'm happy to shoot the shit about things when I'm on stream because I've been here for uh, coming on 15 years. I know my brother's really trying to get me to build something up there. That may happen. We'll see. It's an interesting idea doing like a tiny home up there or something. I've also talked about just like getting a RV, parking it on location. Distorted voice. Located the wreck, but the ship's computer was a washout. We salvaged what supplies we could and left. I don't want to be nearby when the water eats through the reactor housing. Tidal patterns here are increasingly strange. The water has risen rapidly, but we are yet to see it ebb. But we could return and salvage more when the water falls away. The survivors made it back after they got the freighter, but moved on soon after. I will have to do the same if I find them. But before I leave, I should make one final search of the archive. There are no more clues, but I do locate blueprints for an aquatic construction module. There's no one here to rescue, so I shut down the beacon. Oh shit, I just got a whole bunch of stuff. Glass tunnels! Ooh, for underwater. Oh, that's cool. I'm gonna have to start making glass. Large glass panels. Moon pool floor. Is there anything else over here that I can explore? Sure don't see anything at quick glance. Just genuinely curious if there was anything in here I could salvage. Does this go in somewhere? Oh, I'm hitting a collider somewhere. Yeah, there's definitely a collider there. Boo to colliders. Boo! Have I scanned all these critters? I have. Return to the Nautilus and use the high-powered sonar to search for the crew. You know, one of the best things I did was install that regenerative power thing here. Is that my Nautilus right there? Floating on the surface? Abandoned? What kind of an idiot just abandons his tools out in the middle of nowhere? Alright, we need to search for the crew, it says. So I'm searching for downed starship or sunken buildings. Detect abandoned structures on the seabed, so it's going to be ruins. Well, I guess maybe sunken buildings, sorry. Potential. Okay, so we can get out of here. Oh, did it desummon? Okay, never mind. Never mind. I thought it desummoned my ship. Alright, got a signal to follow. Oh, that was like right here. Ha ha! I probably could have I should have just checked. Realized it was something close by and just used the Nautilus to come over here. Herpa derpa. Where it says we just like to move, build modestly, not to worry about money for fears, but get everything figured out. I mean, there's definitely quite a few places you can do that down here. The other thing too, I think you mentioned your age at one point. I don't remember, but I would say also if you have that amount, or in that, and you decide that this was a place that you wanted to, the migration process is super simple. The only thing they give a shit about is like how much money do you have in your bank account if you're retired and you're a pensioner. I initially did my immigration stuff through because I was a freelancer for years, like from 2001. I think I freelanced, and so I just went in and gave them. I think when I first did it, this has been years ago now. They only asked me for like 6 months, I think, of income statements, of like bank statements, and that was enough to get me the temp visa, the temporary resident visa, which lasted for 5 years. I did have to renew every few years, and then at the end of it, right as the new president came in and everything else, and they got rid of the renewals every year, and you can just go straight in and get a 5-year temporary residency visa right out of the gate. And then as soon as you finish the 5 year, you can then go straight to the permanent residency. And all they do for that is they ask once again for bank statements, and as long as you hit the minimums, then you have permanent residency, and it never goes away. There's no limits on how long you're out of the country for. If you need to go away for 6, 8 months, there's no limitations on any of that, and it allows you to do everything other than vote. Um, but I mean, even you don't need any paperwork to like buy property. Like anybody from anywhere in the world can buy property and have rights to the property. It's really cool. Mobile Jarna says, just want to say I love your vibe, dedication. Glad you got a number sky. It is it. I like to remind people that this is not me becoming a No Man's Sky streamer. I have been a variety streamer for years and years and years and years and years and years and years. This is a window of time. And I know we have a ton of new people in this channel, which is always awesome when we get a big wave of interest around a specific game, but I always move on. Some games stick around long term, and there's enough things that I want to do here with base building and everything else, but I've been very clear with people that as soon as we get to Star Wars Outlaws, I'm not going to be streaming this every day anymore. This will be like a 6-week window. I've done it before with like Dragon's Dogma 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Rogue Trader. Anytime I do a big game, we get 6 or 8 weeks out of it, and then we move on to do the next one. And then in between that, there might be 2 months of little games that we do. But I am having fun with No Man's Sky. I do like this game enough to want to have it in the category for quite some time to do all the base building I want to do and everything else. But I also, if they announced tomorrow that Light No Fire was coming in September, I would drop this and go to Light No Fire. I would immediately, like, just because it's a new game, new tech, you're gonna get new audience, new membership, and everything else. But I am having fun with this, and we've at least got another 2-3 weeks of unfettered No Man's Sky before I really switch gears and go into Star Wars Outlaws, Space Marine 2. We've got World of Warcraft: The War Within starting, and then after that we've got Stalker 2, Indiana. Like at the end of this month, Gamescom, we're gonna get release dates for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. We're gonna get Dragon Age: The Veilguard release date, I believe. I believe those are probably going to both be October. We've got Shattered Space DLC for Starfield. That's probably going to be November. And then Stalker 2 has been pushed to November. So all of those are happening. And those will be priority number 1 when those are active. In between those releases, I will be, assuming there's nothing else distracting me, I will be coming back to No Man's Sky and working on this in between all of those other projects. Just for those people who might be new, I talk about it once every couple of days, but I just like to remind people so that they don't get to the end of the month and be like, motherfucker, quit playing No Man's Sky, what the fuck? No, it's because this is just part of we're just riding a wave right now, man. I paddle out and I ride lots of waves. Drerbomb says, if you dig, you can find some lockers with stuff at freighter crashes. Oh, that's cool. dun, dun. You got to get all 5 freight cargo chests, then you can unlock a freighter module from the orb in the center, says Mobile Journal. Oh, interesting. Brett says, if I try to buy property, I have 250K in the bank, and my wife and I are both making extra dollars online. Yeah, you'll be fine. Unless they've changed, I don't know what the minimum requirements are anymore, because it's been years. I haven't had to do anything since 2015. That was when I got my permanent residency. Once you have permanent residency, you no longer have to do any of that shit. So I remember at the time, I think it was like they looked at, like, if you have assets, they look at your assets. Otherwise, it was just look at your bank account. If you're retired, if you're a pensioner, if you were a freelancer like I was at the time, they just want to see your monthly income, bank statements and stuff like that. But it was like, if you weren't working and you were past a certain age, then you could just show them your lump sum or your assets. And I want to say it was something ridiculously low, like 150,000, or it was a very low number years ago. I don't know what it is now. That's something you would need to probably talk to a immigration lawyer about. They'll know more. Brett says I'll hang out no matter what you play. Thanks, man. That's the goal, is to convert everybody. Okay, is that one of those eyeball things again? It is. Someone said you can only shoot those when the eyeball is looking at you. Are they sleeping right now, or what up? I don't know what's up with that, but we're gonna... Oh, it's looking at me. It was totally looking in my direction. Goop. Goop. Log accessed. Signal echo distorted. Recovering data. Breach event. It was my turn to dive today. Once again, nothing of interest. Nothing but kelp and rocks. The water has yet to recede. Some of the crew have been taken to swimming without their suits. It looks so inviting. Probably deadly. Trace the survivors across the ocean. Which means I probably got to go back to my little... Oh, I'm hitting a collider for something here. How dangerous are these eyes, guys? Not too bad, not too bad, not too bad. Is it lootable? Hypnotic eye. Okay, that wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. Oop, but I'm assuming... Ah! I'm assuming you just got to be really careful with that. I'm going to go play around with weapons at some point, because I totally would like something that's a little more rapid fire than that. But because I suck so bad at aiming, that little scatter blaster has been great for me. By the way, can I harvest these things off the side of you? Ooh, you're one of the minerals I need. Hello. Hi there. Can I pull these little turquoise barnacles off you? Nope. Alright. Okie dokie. Probably need to go back to my little... subnautical creature thingy. He's over here. Where's it at? My Nautilin. That's not it. Where are you at, Nautilin? I went in the wrong direction. He's right over here. I was looking at the wrong camp icon. Land, damn it! Oh, I get that every once in a while. Usually anytime I try to, let's look at sunken buildings. Follow the sonar. Let's see where this one is. If it's close, I'm just gonna go there in this thing. Ah, come over here. Come on, come on, come on. How far away is this one? Oh, that one's quite far away. Yeah, I'm no good at aiming, Minor. It is what it is. I'm also no good at like placing structures with the mouse, with the console. We found out earlier tonight. At least in free mode, because I was trying to line things up that just was not working. That was painful to watch. Guarantee you. Somebody's gonna watch when those get pulled out as episodes. Somebody's gonna watch that second one and be like, "What the fuck is this guy doing? Why is he putting this on YouTube?" I post it all, warts and all. I think I overshot that. What's up? Do you need to charge your phone or anything? Huh? Shit, you're trying to get me, aren't you? All right. Log access, signal echo distorted, recovering data, read log. Breach event, 21 souls. So this is 21 days? 21 souls. I don't know what our cycles are here. Second dive team came back early today. They found a cave full of strange crystals, but the light in the sub cut out and forced them home. They seem upset and disturbed, but we've got to get back out while we still have an idea of where it is before the shifty tides rob us. We'll never build anything without advanced materials. Fix the lights and not let them heading out. Log continues. Well, I think that's true for most games. For those of you who are watching on Twitch, Brett just made a comment over on YouTube. It says it's easy to see why people become dedicated No Man's Sky streamers. So I can actually speak to that a little bit. Let me get through this dialogue. We found the cave I knew we would, but what a find! Great towering crystals of brilliant red, rich metal deposits, concentrated deuterium. All we could ever need. Now, if we get a dry night's sleep. So we're gonna need to continue chasing them. Any MMO or co-op game that has a decent population is a great source of ongoing content and streaming. So there are people who only stream, as an example, there are people who only stream to this day Lord of the Rings Online, Star Wars: Old Republic. They only like Star Wars Turista. That's all they've ever done is Star Wars: Old Republic. That's it. Their website is dedicated to it. The YouTube channel is dedicated to it, and it's a full-time. That's all they've ever done. I think any of these games that have been out for a while, it's a risk when you start a new game because you don't know if it's going to pan out. You don't know if it's going to stick around. So as an example, I would not have wanted to become a Lost Ark content creator because there's not necessarily a lot of long-term stuff there, but there are people who manage to find it in that niche. The problem with going hardcore on any one topic is that you run the risk of, if that game ever goes away, if it ever sunsets, if your interests ever change, whatever the case, the company does something that pisses people off that's completely out of your control. Like, there are a million variables that can happen, and if you've put all your eggs into that one basket, you're up shit creek. And I learned this lesson many, many, many years ago, which is why I opted for variety streaming, which is a lot slower in terms of growth because your audience has wild dips, because sometimes you're playing games everybody likes, other times. A great example of this is I was streaming was it last night I streamed, Chris? Did I stream last night? I don't remember what I streamed last night. Was it Red Dead Redemption 2 last night? No, it was something. Huh? That was the night before. Even Chris doesn't remember what I streamed last night. So I'm getting 50, 60 people when I stream No Man's Sky. That's a good number for me. That's the same as like when I was doing Dragon's Dogma 2, Red Dead Redemption, Rogue Trader. But like I streamed something last night, can't remember what it was, and I had like 6 people watching. Now I don't have to worry about that because I'm financially secure. Other people have to worry about that. And which is why you see these guys who are always chasing what's, and I do have to be conscious of it to some degree. But if I have one thing that's popping off, I can be a little more creative where I need to be. But it's a much slower growth rate. But it would be easy for me if I wanted to right now. The problem is, when is fatigue going to set in? Because that was the thing that happened. What I've seen with my audience over time is that, generally speaking, at about the 2-month mark is when I start to... If I haven't reached the peak by 2 months, I usually peak out around 2 months after I start any big project. Because you'll get to a point where the audience kind of says, well, we've got all the people we can get, and now it's a struggle to, like, how do I break to the next level when you're doing only one project? So World of Warcraft, Guild Wars 2, EVE Online, any of these games that have been out for a very long time, you could theoretically become a full-time content creator for that, as long as you create engaging content and you're entertaining and everything else. But it's a lot of work, and that's a daunting project. You also have to figure out what works for you, because if it's a crowded space, Oh, I know what I was streaming the other day. Well, I wasn't streaming. I was doing. I've been playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. When I upload those videos, they get like 30 views, like 50 views, and it doesn't matter to me because it's just something I'm playing for fun. It's a 6-hour game. I could upload them and throw them out there, but I would never be able to make content around Call of Duty, because my audience is tuned towards like RPGs and crafting survival and MMOs and co-op. Miner says some creators started doing exclusively No Man's Sky. However, in the long term, they started doing other games, but became exclusive again for a couple of months after an update starts. That's pretty typical for a lot of, there's a good example of this is um, Wolfheart. Wolfheart Gaming kind of did that with Baldur's Gate 3. Like went hard and heavy in Baldur's Gate 3, and then he's played things around it, but he always comes back to Baldur's Gate 3. And anytime he does like he just did an update for Baldur's Gate 3 yesterday, and I think it's up to like 90,000 views. But he'll go play other things in between Baldur's Gate 3, but he always comes back around because that one was a major thing for his channel as an example. Um, I think I could lean into that if I wanted to, but I've generally tried to mirror what Code Carnage has done, which is just always keep moving. You know, you'll have waves, but just keep on moving. I did have a discussion, I think with Bubbleonia maybe about 6 months ago. I was like, it would be really easy for me to go full time on like World of Warcraft because it's a 20-year-old game. And I get pretty decent views around the videos I do in the streams. Not the streams so much right now because we're not streaming regularly. But when I am streaming World of Warcraft regularly, the views are pretty good. I'll get 40, 50 people during the live streams, and it's always growing. And there's 20 years of content for me to back farm. Same thing here with No Man's Sky. I've got 8 years of content that I can back farm. So in terms of if I wanted to go full time on No Man's Sky, I probably could. Given the fact that this has popped off with my channel, not every game pops off. Some games you don't know. Like I really wanted Final Fantasy Rebirth to pop off, but it did not for my channel. So that was a one and done. But there are games you want it to pop off, and it's like audience moves on, they go do other things. It's all good. Brett says when I start streaming, it's going to be mostly focused on genres, not titles. That's not a bad way to do it. Also, the viewers leave eventually, says Miner. But games. So this you're tapping into also one of the reasons why No Man's Sky can. I need to finish reading your comments so that everyone understands, because my brain sort of jumps around a bit. The comment was the viewers will also leave eventually, but games like League of Legends are able to keep a stable viewership during years. So this is that long-term thing I was speaking on earlier. If you can find a game like Lord of the Rings Online, Star Wars: New Republic, World of Warcraft, Guild Wars 2, No Man's Sky, any MMO or big co-op multiplayer game. Halo is another. Halo Infinite is another good example. Once a game makes it past like the 3-year mark, and it's still maintaining 150,000 players on a monthly basis, like 150,000 concurrent players on a regular basis, it's probably safe to bet that you'll be able to continually find an audience to consume content. However, one of the problems with building an audience up that's also playing with you is that eventually so one of the reasons that everyone is enjoying my streams